let's talk about just the match against Denis, your left hand match.
Yeah.
He's also terrifying and seen as one of the strongest, probably the one of, if not the strongest, left hand arm wrestler.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said there. Maybe you could talk about this match at a high level. Why did you take on this match? Why did you do the left hand versus the right hand?
Yeah.
What can you tell the story?
Okay, Denis Cyplenkov. There's so much about this match. I love Denis.
Russian guy.
Yeah, Russian guy. Russian. I used to call him Denis Chernobyl. What a monster. He kind of led, I'd say, this new era of arm wrestling where the super heavyweight strength level has just gone through the roof. I wanted the match for such a long time. We tried to get the match. We couldn't get it organized. This is back in 2008 to 2012. Couldn't get the match. I've always been more of a one-on-one puller. He was doing the tournament format. I was ranked number 1 in the world. And towards the end, it kind of was very undecided. I ended up getting surgery. I ended up abandoning the super heavyweight division. I went down to 225s for a few years. WAL failed temporarily. So the 225-pound division was scrapped, and I said, okay, I'm going to go for the big crown once again. And I started to go after super heavyweights. The 2018 season was right hand. I started to enter negotiations to have the match with him. We'd been chasing the match for 10 years. They wanted to do it left hand. I wanted to do it right hand. I just wanted to do the match. I wanted to do the match with Denis. I wanted to meet Denis.
So people should know that the right hand has always been your strongest.
It has been. I mean, I had surgery in 2016. I hate to make excuses. I hate to do it. Denis was better than me that day, even on my best day. If you had gone back my entire career, at no single day do I beat Denis Cyplenkov in 2018. I would like to think that I could maybe do it now, but at that point, there would have been no version that could have beat him. I
Left or right?
Right hand, no. I'm curious about the right. But left hand.
So's the world.
Well, it might still happen. It might. But Denis completely destroyed me. And I learned a lot from it. I think before the Denis match, I think I don't know exactly what your word to use. Maybe I felt like my thinking was a little bit elitist. And I really learned a lot. I was really humbled that day. By how far and how professional and how prepared Denis was, and how seriously he took the sport.
There's a slightly terrifying calmness to him, which only comes with extreme preparation, I think.
Yeah, his level of dedication was extremely inspiring to me. I used to do a job where it was serious enough that the price could be death, right? And I arm wrestled throughout that entire period. And I always kind of looked at, the cost of doing an activity being death, limited to soldiering. And I kind of changed my mind a lot after that match. I realized that anything that you're in love with, once you get far enough down the road and professional enough at it, it's going to kill you. Like, doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're crazy enough about anything, it's probably going to take your life from you in some way. And that doesn't mean you rush towards death. It's just your level of investment and level of risk can have some catastrophic effects.
Charles Bukowski, I think, has the quote, do what you love and let it kill you.
Right.
Like that.
Right. And I understood that Denis's level of professionalism far exceeded mine in what we were doing at the time. And I realized that, I was no longer employed. I was now in the world of professional arm wrestling. And I realized that, what was I doing? Like, how serious was I? So Denis is an incredible guy.
Is there moments in that match? There's humility there too from him. That was a fascinating sort of. It seemed like you realized that you just hit a wall and you were not ready enough for it.
It was incredible. There was so many things that I remember about the Denis match. I mean, I remember, seeing video of somebody and then meeting them in person. It's different. I remember in the weigh-ins, sorry, not the weigh-ins, in the standoff that we did, before the match. I'm looking at him, like I'm close. I'm looking at his arms, and his bicep, it looked like an ass. Like it was like a freaking glute muscle.
Yeah.
Like his entire structure was so sinewy and just so strong. I was like, wow, like he's so physically so impressive. And I remember when I arm wrestled him at a certain time, he allowed me to kind of set my position. You can't really tell because it happens very quickly. But he let me set my position, which means I kind of got my locks in where you can kind of really do a great hold. And he just ripped through me.
So you were able to get this great position.
Yeah,
so it was
tore right through me. Yeah. And it's the first time I ever thought that that I had torn something. I thought, like, after the match, I'm like, geez, did he rip my chest right in half? Like,
what did it?
No,
it was 100%.
Yeah, no, I didn't actually. Nothing went purple or anything, but yeah, the strength gap was very significant with Denis.
So could he? What would it take to beat him on that day?
It would take me just being a little bit stronger,
more focused.
and more healthy. Yeah, my left was not as healthy as it should be. Like, I didn't have a full rounded technical arsenal. It takes a time after surgery. It really does. Like, I mean, you can be good, but after a surgery like what I had, you're probably looking at 3 or 4 years before you're starting to hit technical proficiency the way you should be. And just a bit stronger.
How do you interpret the calmness on his face? Well, what is that about? Is he actually
It's
that
very
calm,
Russian,
or is it
isn't
trained?
it?
It's a Russian thing?
It's a Russian thing, I think. I don't know. I see a lot of Russians like that. They're so, like, stoic. And I'm such a fan of Russia. I really want to go to Moscow. I've been saying it forever.
You've never been?
Not yet. I want to go. I want to just go and live there for like a month and just train. Moscow's got such a crazy arm wrestling scene. They've got, from what I understand, they just have so many clubs. There's so many strong athletes. Just go and just lightning rod. Yeah.
Have you considered doing something of that sort? It's like Rocky IV again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and lead up to June.
I would certainly consider it. I've got only one trip planned at the moment. Administration is very important.
What do you mean by administration? So like managing your time?
Management, yeah. The management has to be very efficient. When I'm a tourist, when I'm a visitor, a little bit of that goes down. When I'm at my home and things are familiar, I've got a really great grasp on my time. Everything's in place. Everything's perfect. If I could magically transport Moscow into my hometown and just go out and visit them. Yeah.
So it's very difficult when you're traveling. You have to keep all you have to figure out what you're eating, how you're getting the food, all the socializing. Plus, you're more and more a celebrity, so there's social interaction, which I don't know how draining that could be on you outside of the arm wrestling table. So you have to manage all of that because ultimately you have to focus on the fight ahead.
Yeah. A lot of my strength comes from just being in a familiar place, doing my routine. I love to travel. I love to get out there and meet people and new experiences. But when I just want to really prepare for a big match, home is where I get strong.
So that loss against Denis was one of the few losses in your career. How did that feel in the moments after, in the days after, in the months after, in the years after? How has it changed you as an arm wrestler, as a human being?
Well, it's tough to lose.
Still haunt you?
Um, I don't think so. I actually was really happy to lose to Denis because, sometimes when you lose a match, there's a lot of matches that I've lost where they upset me because I know I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I didn't make a mistake with Denis. He was just way better. There's nothing I could have done that day. I'm really at peace with it. Denis, to me, was just a big inspiration. I think that me arm wrestling Denis left-handed that day just let me touch probably one of the strongest human beings on the arm wrestling table that's ever lived, left-handed. So
knowing that's possible is almost like inspiration to you that I can be at that level too.
Yeah. Seeing what Denis did, just trying to absorb a little bit of his knowledge, planted seeds in me. Yeah, I mean, when I look at my career, it's a bit like the stock market, but for sure I'm trending upwards. And since really kind of wrapping my mind around some of the Russian philosophies, they really changed my training systems. There was some base philosophies that they talked to me about over there that massively impacted my training.
Is it possible to convert some of those philosophies into words? Can you describe some of the ideas they taught you?
So
never smile.
Right? Man, there's it takes a while to break the ice with a lot of these guys.
Well, once you do, I mean, that's as deep as bonds you can form there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that I was raised under, I believe it's a flawed, it's not flawed because it has its value as well. But it's best if you understand both philosophies. I think a North American thing that's just so ingrained in our fitness society is no pain, no gain, and just pushing and sweating and going harder and fighting through and grit and tough. And then you talk to the Russians and they're like, yeah, never fail. You never fail. Never go to failure. Always feel good. Always feel good. It should always feel good. Don't. And those two philosophies express themselves very differently. And if you want to get strong, don't fail. Don't fail.
So that's how they also are believers of volume.
Yeah. There's a lot of strategies, but volume is a massive principle. And volume is very hard to achieve when you're believing in no pain, no gain. Right? They don't really go together. No pain, no gain, more injuries.
So is there parallels? Because in wrestling, some of the greatest wrestlers of all time are Russian, and they were big. Dan Gable talks about it. They were big on play,
right?
Like lighter wrestling,
right?
Because probably ultimately, actually, it boils down to that's how you achieve higher volume,
right?
Like over the stretch of years, the way to reduce injury. I mean, in wrestling, also technique might have greater value than it does in arm wrestling. Obviously, technique is extremely important in arm wrestling, but power is can defeat technique. It seems like in wrestling you can get away. There's a lot of ways you can really do sneak attacks, sort of use leverage, all those kinds of things. So there's even more incentive to do play and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But do you see the parallels between the two worlds? Wrestling and arm wrestling.
100%. Well, you saw what I did the other night, right? So I'm playing on the table for hours.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my number one training thing that I do is I go on the table for hours and I play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you did, Sergey, can you pull up that video? It's on Devon's channel, the water tank one.
Oh, it's like 180p. It's like the Wi-Fi in there was so bad. Yeah,
it's great. I love it. It's maybe the I don't know if it was fisheye, but it had a fisheye feel. It was crowded. I mean, so much camaraderie. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But maybe just a brief mention of Dmitry, the Russian.
Yeah.
the Russian guy. What in that play? What are some memorable things here? Like when you go against a bunch of different people, a
Mhm.
bunch of strangers, what
Yeah.
are all the differences, and how do you grow from them? How do you learn from them?
Well, everybody's a bit different. So I love to go to new clubs because the energy's always high. Like the first time you go to a club, everybody's trying to kill you.
Yeah,
Yeah. So they're
there's
gonna
excitement, and
yeah.
there's this, and so you feed off of that
Yeah, you do. You can if you're able to be strong enough to absorb it without injury, it's awesome. It's awesome.
because they're giving you everything they got.
Yeah. 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 Right. So it's very specific, right? Like I'm gonna get way stronger at arm wrestling. And what I try and do when I go to these places is I make an assumption. I make an assumption that I'm the best guy there. And so I'll arm wrestle in a way that kind of protects them.
Mhm.
Because the more I can protect them and kind of keep them kind of in a good position,
Mhm.
they can actually give me more.
Mhm.
Right. So I kind of give them little pieces that I think will put them in a place that they can really give me more. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then when I see somebody like Dimitri,
Yeah.
I pull that in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so I know Dimitri's the number one guy in Texas. Lots of respect to the guy. I won't give him all the pieces until I really kind of gauge where he's at, because I certainly in training don't want to fail. I don't want that. I don't want to. When you fail in arm wrestling, it's just imagine it's just bad technique, and you're trying in bad technique, you're gonna get hurt. Yeah.
So you always want to be in a strong position here. What about how does endurance come into play here? And here's video of
Yeah.
you strapping up with
That's right.
Dimitri.
Yeah.
How do you? I mean, you went for like, I don't know, 2 hours. You get
Yeah, it was
exhausted?
long. So this first run of the video, I think, was a little over an hour. Then I took a break, and I probably did another 45 minutes or so. But
I mean, do you? How can? Are you okay with the endurance aspect of this?
yeah, that's probably like when you talk to the arm wrestling world, that's probably what I'm best known for is my endurance.
So this helps build that.
It does, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to get strong. In my opinion, this is one of the best ways to get strong, especially far away from a tournament or any kind of an event. I wouldn't want to do this, even a month or even 6 weeks or even maybe even 8 weeks before a big event. I'd want to already be kind of shrinking my volume, but far away from an event, yeah, as much volume as your body can handle, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it. Like I felt it at times, like, after the hour mark, I'm like, okay, I can feel my blood sugar kind of diminishing. I can feel like the blood that's going to my muscles is kind of like, it's not really pushing more good stuff in. I'm starting to break down.
Mhm.
And you don't want that. You don't want that.